Okay, don't know why it took so long, but we finally reached the point, evidently, where people are sick of Hillary Clinton, and that includes a lot of Democrats. It takes a lot to turn a Democrat's stomach, and the fact that Hillary Clinton has so thoroughly affected that, I suppose that's a cause for celebration. But who's in the wings waiting? Well, you've got Bernie Sanders, creepy socialist, 30-plus year politician, same old thing, $18 trillion projected new debt under Bernie Sanders. And if for some reason Bernie stumbles, Bernie makes a lot of stumbles when you actually listen to what he says, who is really waiting in the wings? Like some kind of demented phantom of the opera lurking backstage? Well, that would be our own Elizabeth Warren. Yes, the calls are already out there to recruit Elizabeth Warren, to have her ride in on the back of her Palomino. Did Native Americans ride Palomino, Sparky? Because you all remember that Elizabeth Warren is famous primarily for faking her application to Harvard University, claiming under an affirmative action program that she was a Native American. Take a look at old Pocahontas there. You see a lot of Native American there? I see neon white. I see white out paper cleanup white there. Be that as it may, Elizabeth Warren's whole premise, like Bernie Sanders, is socialism. You work for us. Y'all remember this from 2012, don't you?
There is nobody in this country who got rich on his own. Nobody. You built a factory out there, good for you, but I want to be clear, you moved your goods to market on the roads the rest of us paid for. Yep. You hired workers, the rest of us paid to educate. You were safe in your factory because of police forces and fire forces that the rest of us paid for.
Now listen to that. You know, it really is shocking when you think about it. When I go back and think about the founding of this country was not founded by a strong, centralized government. In fact, if I read the founding documents correctly and understand history, it was exactly that kind of centralized government that the founders didn't want. Our country was built not by collectives. Our country was built by entrepreneurs from the ground up. It was built by individuals working hard. Those roads that she said belonged to all of us, they were built by us. They weren't built by the federal government. This idea somehow that there's this shocking disconnect between the federal government, who's responsible, and local government for that matter, who's responsible for all these good things, and the rest of us peons who just use those things to get ahead. There would be none of these things without the individual, without the entrepreneur, without the free market, without the ingenuity and industry of individual Americans. Those roads, those police forces, those are things that we built with our capital and gave back to the country. You need to remember that, Elizabeth Warren, as you move forward. But as a good little liberal Marxist socialist, the odds are you won't remember it. When you were back in Oklahoma City as a little girl playing Indian, evidently, in the middle of the city, these other things weren't reported very much. In your career now, we have some information about you. How about this? According to an Associated Press report from 2012, Elizabeth Warren was paid $429,981 as a Harvard law professor from 2010 to 2011. And on top of that, she received nearly $134,000 in consulting fees on legal cases during the same time period. This is right when she was giving her speech about "You didn't build this." This was right when a white, progressive, liberal woman used her abilities and her power to get a job otherwise reserved for minorities, to take a job away from a minority candidate, all in the name of claiming to be an Indian. You factor in investments, book deals, other income from Warren during that time period, she is a charter member of the 1% club she so says she despises. Her family net worth, her and her husband, is $15 million. And let's not forget, again, how this privileged neon white Warren secured that sinecure at Harvard. She applied for and received her position as an affirmative action hire claiming Native American heritage, as we just said, despite desperate efforts by the liberal press to authenticate this self-serving fiction. The best these junior genealogists could do is to suggest the possibility that Warren might indeed have 1/32nd Cherokee blood. That's 1/32nd Cherokee blood, which makes Hiawatha about as much an Indian as Ward Churchill. Even if we grant Pocahontas this 1/32nd Indian ancestry, oh, and by the way, for the record, the Cherokee Nation themselves do not acknowledge it, wouldn't it have been more progressive, more liberal, more socialist for her to stand aside and let a more genuine minority take such a high-paying, influential position? But not Pocahontas. No, white liberals invent and create racial and class conflicts out of whole cloth, not to help minority causes, but to enrich and legitimize their own power. That's the reality.